I'm Amelia Hans,
I'm Reva Vemulapalli.
And I'm Daniel Marshall.
and this is the impacts of climate change on Greenland ice sheet stability.
For some background, the Greenland ice sheet is 1,710,000 kilometers squared ice sheet that covers approximately 80% of Greenland. It's the second largest body of ice in the world and ranges from 1.67 to 3.5 kilometers deep. Here is a map that shows where Greenland is. As you can see, it's located in the northern hemisphere near the Arctic and Canada. To show the scale of loss of Greenland ice, I wanted to include some statistics here. 3.8 trillion tons of ice were lost between 1992 and 2018, with the rate of loss only increasing. Greenland ice melt alone contributes to 0.7 millimeters of sea level rise per year. Under high estimation scenarios, we could lose 35,900 billion tons of ice per century. Some of the present-day impacts of Greenland ice sheet melting are extreme weather, especially in Europe, and a rise in vegetation in Greenland. Here I have a graph showing the rate of change in elevation on Greenland per year. Warmer temperatures have led to an increase in snowstorms on Greenland, which resulted in a slight increase in ice levels in central Greenland. However, this is not enough to offset the amount that is melting near the edges of Greenland. Europe will experience hotter, drier summers, and sea levels have also been on the rise, as previously mentioned.
Some of the unexpected impacts of the Greenland ice melt on health in Africa as a whole are an increased spread of malaria due to higher temperatures. On the right, we have the figures of the density of malaria being contracted in Africa, and further to the right of that are the predicted spreads of it after increases in temperature due to higher sea level. As you can see, the range spreads greatly compared to modern day. A higher rate of heat stroke due to increased temperatures as a result of increased sea level, and the increased likelihood of hyperthermia, which is also a result of that. Um, the Greenland ice cap melts also affects wildlife. Due to the increase in sea level as a result of it, more habitats are exposed to flooding. On the right, we have an image of flooding taking place, which can displace people and animals. And then the agricultural soil that people use can be contaminated with salt, and salt contamination basically makes soil unusable for agricultural farming. And the destruction of coral reef habitats due to sea level rise. Whenever the sea level rises, light is less likely to reach coral reef habitats, which need that to survive, so it destroys them.
One of the major future human impacts that our society is going to face is that there is going to be many changes in precipitation patterns. The graphic on the right shows the Sahara region of Africa, which is already famously dry, but as you can see, that area will continue to get drier as these ice sheets melt, and this trend will be continuing across the globe. This will result in reduced crop yields since, as we know, plants need water to grow, as well as the destruction of coastal communities, since sea level is rising, as previously mentioned, and communities that were safe from things like storm surge from hurricanes will no longer be considered safe. Also, as previously mentioned, there will be a mortality increase due to heat and many of the impacts that that can have, as well as reduced access to potable water, as since temperature increases, so does evaporation, and there will be less access to water that is not higher in salinity, which is not something that humans can ingest. There are many different economic impacts of the Greenland ice sheet melting. One of the major ones is lost crop yields, which are a major source of income for many different both communities, countries, and individuals. So if these plants were no longer able to grow due to these changing patterns in precipitation, many communities would take a large economic hit. There's also the cost of repairing infrastructure. The graphic on the left shows the damage in 2019 in the United States due to hurricanes. And as you can see in the residential sector alone, from flood damage and wind damage, there were $34 billion in damage done. There's also the cost of lost ecosystem services to consider. Ecosystems like wetlands provide us with flood protection and nutrient recycling and many other different things, which we would have to pay for if we wanted to recreate those ecosystem services in the future if those ecosystems were lost.
In conclusion, the Greenland ice sheet is losing its stability due to melting.
The Greenland ice sheet melting causes sea level rise, increased temperatures, transmissibility of diseases, and reduced crop yields.
And the Greenland ice sheet melting can be a serious threat to both human and non-human life on Earth. Thanks for learning.